So I've been using this iPhone 17 Pro Max for about a week now. Apple said the vapor chamber and moving back to aluminum fixes overheating, and the battery life is way better. So I wanted to see if any of that was actually true. First thing I wanted to test was the vapor chamber. Apple made a big deal about how it's supposed to keep the phone cooler, and I figured the best way to test this is with gaming. So I downloaded a couple games and I played for about 30 minutes. And honestly, it does stay cooler than my old iPhone, but it's not like it never gets warm. After about 20 minutes of gaming, you can definitely feel some heat around the camera area. I have an infrared thermometer to test before and after. It's not burning hot like some phones I've used, but definitely better than previous years. Speaking of gaming, I actually wanted to test the actual battery life of this phone during a normal day. Apple claimed way better battery life, so I tracked my usage for the whole week. On a typical day where, you're checking emails, scrolling on social media, and taking some photos, I was averaging about 9 hours of screen time and ending the day around 30%, which is actually pretty solid. The cool thing about that is that even on heavy usage days, I wasn't scrambling for a charger. It actually lasted me a full day, which is all I can ask for. There is one day that shows that I have 16 hours of screen on time, which is not a real thing. I don't know what happened there. I think iOS 26 had a bug, so that kind of skewed my numbers just a little bit. But here's what I noticed. Those gaming sessions that I mentioned earlier only drain like 5% in that 30 minutes. So if you're planning to game a lot, you might actually be okay. For charging, the iPhone 17 Pro Max supports 40-watt fast charging now. But here's the thing, they don't include a 40-watt charger in the box. So luckily I already had one. I did a side-by-side test with my old 15 Pro Max using the same charger. I also wanted to see what the temperature differences between both of those phones would be. Okay, so I'm doing a charge test between the 15 Pro Max versus the 17 Pro Max. I am going to also be taking temperatures throughout this time to see how fast it charges and how hot it gets. So this is what the back of the 15 Pro Max, which is 71. And then the back of the 17 Pro Max is 73. I am using the Ugreen 100-watt charger. I'm making sure to use the top two ports because those have a 100-watt output. And so, yeah, now this test begins. All right, so 30 seconds in, and you can see that the iPhone 17 Pro Max has already turned on. All right, so it's taken about 2 minutes and 45 seconds for the 15 Pro Max to turn on. So this is gonna be a very interesting test. All right, so we just hit the 10-minute mark. The battery on the 15 Pro Max is at 16%, and the battery on the 17 Pro Max is at 20%, about 90 degrees and about 87. All right, so I'll see you in another 10 minutes. All right, so we just hit the 20-minute mark and we're at 35% on the 15 Pro Max and 41% on the 17 Pro Max. And for the heat, 94 and 95. Okay, it's been just a little bit over 24 minutes now, and the 17 Pro Max finally hit 50. The 15 Pro Max is at 42, so not too far behind. Let's go ahead and flip this over just to show that it's done. We're gonna check the temperature here. What you looking like, buddy? Yeah, about 99. All right, so the 15 Pro Max just hit 50. It took about, 30 minutes. So not too far behind the 17 Pro Max, about 5 minutes. The 17 Pro Max definitely charges faster, but not by much. It got to 50% in just over 24 minutes versus the 15 Pro Max coming in at just under 30 minutes. With the phone charging at 40 watts, yeah, it gets warm. Not crazy hot, but you can definitely feel it. The aluminum body spreads the heat out really nicely, so it's not uncomfortable to hold while it's charging. So onto the cameras. This is probably what most of you care about. Apple made a big deal about all three cameras now being 48 megapixels, and they adopted the center stage feature on the front camera. Let me start with the back cameras. The 8x zoom is okay. I took a couple shots, and as you can see, it does get soft around the edges, but the main camera is honestly insane. It actually took some amazing photos even in low light. I think the 48 megapixels on these cameras are definitely showing their strength. There is definitely something to say about the clarity and the detail, especially in low light photography. The iPhone 15 Pro Max was not the greatest at this, but as you can see with these examples, they're actually really crisp and detailed. I honestly can't wait to do a camera comparison between the S25 Ultra and the 17 Pro Max. The dual camera recording thing is kinda cool. You can record with the front and the back cameras at the same time. I was actually able to use this feature and found it a little bit helpful when I was explaining to one of my friends what modifications I'm gonna do to my motorcycle. Other than that though, I'm not sure how often I would actually use it, but it is there if you want it. So overall, did Apple deliver on their promises? Yeah, kinda. The vapor chamber does help with heat, but it's not like the phone never gets warm. It's better, but Apple definitely kinda oversold it. Battery life is definitely solid, charging is faster if you get your own 40-watt brick, and the cameras are definitely good. I figured I also might as well mention iOS 26 since it did fully release when this phone came out. It does work pretty well for the most part. There's just some minor bugs here and there when you're customizing things. Look, if you're coming from like a 13 or a 14 Pro Max, yeah, you'll notice the improvements. But if you've got a 15 or 16 Pro Max, it's more incremental than groundbreaking. I'm gonna keep using this for a while longer and then do a proper comparison with the S25 Ultra because I know a lot of you are trying to decide between the two. So make sure you subscribe for that. But yeah, that's been my week with the iPhone 17 Pro Max. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like because that helps out the channel. But other than that, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.